Hey guys, so you may have noticed in my last video, there was a period of time of about a month between when I actually recorded it and when I actually edited it. And there's a reason why. It's not just out of laziness, it's because, well, I'll show you. 2, 1. Okay, we're looking for 80 now. Okay. 10. And hopefully my lagging presses won't get us too off. 9. 8. I'll read your comments in a second. You understand. 6. 5. 4. 3. 2. 1. I'll see if it worked. I didn't want to say anything. I didn't say anything. I was like, it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. And then I was like, wait, it's lighter, but it looked lighter earlier. It worked. Yeah, I've been shiny hunting in Pokemon. It's a lot of fun. I've done it in Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, and Emerald. That's probably all I'm going to do it in because all the other ones seem really hard. But I've been having a lot of fun. And this is actually kind of going to be a tutorial about some of that I'm doing because I haven't found some of this on the internet yet. So, unless you're interested in a tutorial, probably not the video for you. Sorry, Briar. But anyway, let's hop over here to Shining Pearl. So this is all going to be building off of the tutorials by Papa Hefe, so if you haven't seen those, go watch those first. So if you've done any shiny hunting in BDSP, you know that you've got to stand here, monitor your blinks, then go stand in another place and wait for your advances to pass. Sometimes there can be thousands, and that's terrible. So one time I was thinking, well, you know, I'm getting consistently about 4,000 advances every time I just go straight there. What if I found a way to skip some of those advances? Say if I needed to get to 8,000 or 10,000 or 12,000 to get a shiny. And what I eventually found out is that if you walk around this house once, just like that, it will actually give you about 2,000 advances. And further, if as you're walking up here, you walk here to here, that will give you about 1,000 advances. Now, obviously, this is just a timing issue. It's not the actual walking, as far as I know, that gives you the advances, but it's still a useful way to skip ahead a couple thousand, you know, instead of having to wait for a long time. Generally, you only have to wait for about 8 minutes. And I've made this spreadsheet, which again is an extension of Papa Hefe's, and I've used it to determine how long I need to wait. So, for example, here, say I needed to hit a target of 8,400. We'll get into the colorings here in a second. If I needed to do that, I would need to skip approximately 4,000. Or I could go 3,000 to make sure I go under and don't skip past it, which would be one walk around the house and one pass to the house, which is what I'm calling that. Now, obviously, as I said before, as I said during that, this is not precise. You don't want to go over. And the thing is, if you look here, this says 8,400. As I said before, I would consistently hit around 4,000, but it was more around like 4,750 that I could hit without going over, though, because, you know, it all depends on how many blinks it takes to get. Sometimes the blinks in the house take a little longer. Sometimes the blinks with the berry at the lake take way too freaking long. And so Well, technically you could hit around like 4,500 if you wanted to. It'd be very difficult. You'd have to get lucky with the blink. So one thing I've determined is if you're in the low hundreds of 1,000, you generally want to go about 1,000 less. You don't want to go right up to it. You can sometimes get to the point where you're very, very close. It's really easy to skip. If you're in the mids, it's a little give or take. And if you're in the high hundreds, those are the best because it means you can skip right to it. So for example, if this was 8,750, if this was 8,750, that's perfect. Oops, I missed the 8. 750 is impossible. If you did 8,750, you go around the house twice, and that'd be it. You're good. Now, the one thing about this is you have to go quickly, and you have to start fresh. So I couldn't go from here because I've already, dinged around out here too much. So let's restart. And let's do the best part of shiny hunting, watching your character blink for so freaking long. So let's start up Shining Pearl. And as soon as we load, press A, monitor blinks. Oh, and another thing, one thing you can see here is on my spreadsheet, which you can go ahead and copy. You won't be able to get the exact one, but you can go ahead and make a copy of it and save one for yourself. I have a thing of the frame I aimed for and the frame I actually hit. So you can see this time I went for 10.629 and I hit 10.626. Okay, that was an error of +3. So I made some adjustments. I have these right here to give different frames that I consistently need to aim for. And this one was 8.461 and I hit 8.465, so that time I was 4 times late. So I did also put some notes that I did some late presses there, and that might have been why I missed it. So as soon as we get it, we're just gonna go ahead and copy these over into PokeFinder. Let's bring this up, and okay, here's a good example. So here's a high 14,000. So let's put this 14,971. I can be a little slow with this one. 14,971. That is 5 walks around the house. So let's go and do some walking. And after that, it looks like we'll have a wait of about 3 minutes, which isn't bad. I mean, it's not like the most amazing thing, but honestly, 3 minutes is better than how long you can wait sometimes. So that's 1, 2, 3. 3. I know how to count. 4. 5. One thing that's nice too is if you go for ones that are kind of clumped together, if you accidentally go and pass over one, you still have one that's nearby. Okay, so now we're gonna go up to Barry or Clint or whatever I named him. We're just gonna mash through his stuff, and as we're walking over, we're gonna switch over to the starter one, get our preview set up. Now, I don't think we're not necessarily gonna have to do it with this one, but it's one that's really close. I use all the shoulder buttons and the A buttons just to mash this as quick as possible. It's more important with ones that are very, very in the low hundreds, because you're already gonna get, messed up with very potentially blinking a lot. So you just want to make sure you mash those as quick as possible. I'm not so worried because we're in the high hundreds. Now we'll re-identify. And we wait again, which shouldn't take too long. Sometimes it takes I think one time it took me 2 minutes, which in this area, every second is 2 advances, which was 240. So I just blew right past my advance, which was super great. Okay, so we're aiming for 14,971. So we actually need 14,771. So I think we're not in any, I don't think we're in any risk of actually passing over this one, unless I screwed up and accidentally did count an extra one, which if so, hey, PokeFinder said there's one in the 17,000, so at least we've got a less of a wait. But just for some context, that would be 10,000 advances. 10,000 advances, let's see, let's do some math. 10,000 divided by 2 divided by 60. So we skipped an hour, over an hour. We skipped 80 minutes of waiting just by walking around that house 5 times. So this is a very useful way to skip past the more tedious parts of it. Okay, so we're at 13,3607. So actually, we could have done another walk pass by the house, but I mean, it's nice to have a little bit of wiggle room. Admittedly, this is a lot of wiggle room. So this is about about 1,000 cycles, 1,000 advances is about 8 minutes. So we've got about an 8-minute wait as opposed to a 3-minute wait. So we could have done another walk by a house just to get a little bit further, but you know what? It's not that big of a deal. It's just 8 minutes. It could have been 88 minutes. So it could have been worse. You know, skipping an hour and a half of waiting to just make it in 8 minutes of waiting. Well, still not the best. I mean, if you think about it, this means you can get just a whole bunch more attempts in a day as opposed to sitting around waiting. And if you're doing 3 attempts at an hour, that's 3 hours for an attempt as opposed to, you know, half an hour for an attempt. No, maybe like 15 minutes for an attempt. 8 minutes for the blinking parts, and then 8-minute wait. You know, that's 4 times as many attempts. So let's see. Let's go over some of these other advances as an example. So this would have been another good one. This would have been just another walk and maybe a pass. And honestly, this would have been a good one to go for. And the nice thing about this one is there's another advance right here that's really close by. So even if I had overshot this one, I could have got this one. Actually, no, this one would have been a great one to go for. In the sense that this is one that's right by this one. So if you happen to bypass this one, you can just go straight to this one. I mean, if you're going for specific natures and stuff, obviously you want to aim for the one you want, but it's nice to have options if you happen to overshoot it. And chances are we'll miss this one just because, as you can see here, I've not gotten great attempts with this, but we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, press. And now comes the stressful part. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, press. And we're going for Chimchar. And we're going to aim for 908. Yeah. 0, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, it's holding 908. Okay, skip to 909, so we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Is it a shiny Chimchar? Is it a shiny Chimchar? Please be a shiny Chimchar. I have other things I need to do today. That's not shiny. But you can see how much shorter that made the process of actually trying to shiny hunt. You can imagine you could do shiny hunting a lot quicker by, you know, walking around houses. And granted, this is obviously, it's a timing thing. It's not actually the houses, I think. But it's a nice metric for being able to say, okay, how much do I need to goof around for a little bit to make sure I get close to the events I need. So yeah, that's how you do this, and let's see where exactly we hit. So we were aiming for 14,971. Okay, given the IVs, it looks like we hit 14,975. So we were off by -4 again. We keep getting -4. Okay, so it just means we need to maybe do this -3. But yeah, that's how we do it. And now I'll just stop recording, and I'll start streaming, and we'll skip ahead to when I actually catch one. Hello, Editing Seth here. So we did end up catching the shiny Chimchar after about an hour and a half of attempts. 2 of them ended up being failed attempts, so in total it was about 5 attempts, but still 5 attempts is pretty good, and an hour and a half is not that bad. We did end up making some edits to the spreadsheet. I found one time that it gave me, I shouldn't have done a house pass when I actually should have, because it was off by like 0.004. So I added it so it gives partial house passes now, which you can do. You just don't walk the full width. But if you look here on that spreadsheet, you can see we did that 14,971, but then after that we did the 21,592, 8804, and then 77.5. So in total, an hour and a half, it ended up being like about 20 minutes per attempt. When if you break down how much waiting this would be, just the 20 would be a lot of time. I'll put the times up total of what it would be for attempt and how much time we just saved by doing these small little methods. So I guess I'll shut up and cut to the part where we get the shiny Chimchar. 1, 0. 7712, it's holding. Oh, it went up really fast right at the end. Yeah. Come on. Come on. Shiny Chimchar! Yes! First try back from lunch. Yeah! Awesome. We got shiny Chimchar. We got shiny Chimchar. My shiny starter run is over. Awesome. 16 minutes and 2 attempts. Yeah. That was 10 minutes for an attempt approximately. And we got a shiny Chimchar. Yay! Again, this isn't my typical content, so thanks for watching if you did. I generally do more skits and stuff like that, but this was a lot of fun to do. So if you liked it, go ahead and leave a like. If you didn't like it, leave a like anyway, because I probably won't see it anyway. So yeah. Anyway, this has been Seth. This has been a thorn in my side. Have fun shiny hunting. I'm glad I didn't go early. I'm glad I went on 0. Shiny Chimchar. Shiny Chimchar. Dang it, what am I going to do with my time now? I was expecting this to take longer.